Hello traders, today is October 20th, 2024. Today is a Sunday. I'm going to be reviewing 15 different names on this video. As per usual, please make sure to do your own due diligence and research before you start investing, whether it's in stocks or anything else. I strongly suggest you do your own homework before you risk your money. Let's start the video with Amazon. I've mentioned Amazon quite often lately. Last time I did mention this before when I was traveling was on October the 12th. So we were right on this candle. This was October 11th on Friday. One of the things that I was saying was, and we were gonna hit 190, and then we had to assess if it breaks, then we might have a continuation towards 200. And if not, we're probably going to be in range between 190 and 181. Now, what I'm seeing here is the fact that we are getting rejected at 190. We're still on top of the 35 SMA, which is still a good thing. But we would like to see a little more of, I guess, momentum if we want a continuation towards 200. Now we'll see what happens once we get into earnings. We're definitely already into earnings season, and we are having the earnings report on October 31st, right on Halloween. So we'll see what happens here. I think the only level that you have to see for now is 190 if you are a bull, and if you have a tendency, at least, or you're thinking that this is gonna continue going down, your next support level is a 35 SMA. If you break that 35 SMA, I think that 181 is probably where we are going to stop. I could be wrong, but it would be great actually if we are in range until earnings, and then on earnings you will have a nice direction where it's up or down. I tend to think that earnings are going to be positive for Amazon, so we might see a nice reaction on earnings. Nothing is said yet. I do believe that, again, we have to break the 190. MACD, TSI look neutral, not in the bullish side, not in the bearish side. They are completely neutral, which is not bad at all. And the RSI is also pointing up, but still on the neutral side. We need more time. We'll see what happens tomorrow on the rest of the week. We still have until the end of the month for earnings, but again, would be optimal if we get into some sort of range in this area for a nice position, maybe right after earnings or whatnot. I don't trade earnings, so well, keep an eye into these two levels, 190 and 181. Now let's move on to a name that I mentioned. Well, let's go to ANF. And I did mention this I think a couple of weeks back, and it was right on this candle right here. I think it was on, let's check, on the 4th. And actually I did it on the 6th. So I'm looking at my notes right now, and I mentioned this on October 6th, which was a Sunday. So I was looking at this candle right here, which is Friday the 4th. Okay, so I guess I was correct. What I was saying is that we have to break, that now that we broke this resistance level right here, 140, we had to go over and mount the 35 SMA in order to fill this gap. We eventually did. So a few days later, we consolidated right under the 35 SMA. Then we broke back into this resistance level. We mounted that 300 SMA, MACD and TSI at that point were looking better. And then happened what I was anticipating, which was filling this gap right here. Another thing that I mentioned on the video was that we were getting into a low liquidity area, and look what happens, not all the time, but a lot of the times, what happens when you get into a low liquidity area is and you actually have momentum, and we saw this. Now what happened on Thursday is that we hit 167 level, and then we got rejected. Now we're going back down. Let's get rid of this rectangle here. I always put them when I see gaps that are pretty obvious, because most of the times, not always, they actually get filled. Anyways, another thing that I want to point out, levels actually work. you know, it's not a bulletproof system, but it is pretty reliable. We had this level right here, and it was based on these candles initially, and then we had this consolidation here, collapse, then we went back up towards 167.7, and we are going down. MACD and TSI are losing momentum, but I wouldn't be surprised if buyers step back in. I think it's a little bit too soon to think that we're going to go back towards 140. Earnings are not coming until November 19th. RSI is also looking a little bit weak, but I think this could also be a little bit of a breather, and then we might see a continuation towards 167, which is a critical level at this point. We had a little failure right here. We also had a little bit of issues here back on August, end of August. We'll see. I think this is a name to keep an eye on, especially if we catch more momentum to the upside. But we'll see. Earnings are coming, but they are we're about 4 weeks away, so I'm not too worried about that. Keep an eye on this level, 167. Your next support level is 139 or 140. I don't have nothing really here in the middle since we had this gap, and I really don't see anything that I would consider. Let's see something really quick. Yeah, nothing that I would consider reliable here. So yeah, those are your two levels right now. Interesting chart, actually. Let's move on to AVGO. And I did do this drawing here back on, I think we were somewhere in this area by the end of September. And this level also was pretty reliable. And this trend line was pretty obvious. So you did have a textbook retest on the trend line, and then you went up towards new all-time highs. Now you're coming back again. Let's get rid of this arrow. I did put that in the past before this actual move, but let's get rid of it. Now you're coming back to this area. Is there any levels here that we can think of? Maybe here. I'm just gonna wait while you have this candle. Let's put this level here and see how it behaves. We're here at the end of this candle right here. I'm not considering the wick on this candle. Okay, so you're coming back on this area as well at 173. We'll see what is the behavior. We'll see if we actually retest this level, and then at that point I would consider that level a little more reliable. But let's keep in mind or keep an eye on 173 area, and then we'll see how this behaves. MACD and TSI are looking a little bit weak. RSI is already pointing down, so keep an eye on that. But if you actually cut this retest, this looked fantastic. You had a rebound on the trend line. You had a rebound on support right here at 166, and then you actually went up very nicely. AVGO was looking good. Now it's not so good, but we'll see. That this sector, in my opinion, is still pretty strong. Now let's mention Best Buy, and I haven't talked about Best Buy in a minute. I was going short on Best Buy and on this area right here, and then when we got this double top right here, I went short again by a couple of days. Normally when I see these kind of setups, you know, I tend to get in and out pretty quickly, so I did some quick money right there. But you know, we are seeing this double top right here. We are seeing this move to the towards this price gap. Earnings are not coming until November, in 1 month. You have very low liquidity in this area to the downside. Your next support level is 89. I'm not saying that we're going to get to that point, but another thing that looks very bearish is that now you are on the daily chart, you are under the 35 SMA, which you were kind of like fighting in this area, and then you went down, and then you got completely rejected in the last, 1, 2, 3 trading days. We'll see what we get on Monday, tomorrow, and what kind of reaction we get. But I think if we still, or if we go towards this area right here, we might see a little bit of more selling pressure towards 89. 89 is not my price target. I just want to see how this behaves. But MACD, TSI, RSI, as you can see, are pointing down. Things look a little bit bearish for now for Best Buy. Let's move on to what I have next. Bitcoin. And I mentioned Bitcoin on my last video. I think I'm gonna keep mentioning Bitcoin for a minute until we see some sort of direction. What I said last time was that we broke with momentum on the 200 SMA. We're also going on the 35 SMA. The 35 SMA is crossing the 200 SMA. A lot of stuff going on. MACD, TSI are looking okay. RSI is on right on the 69. We are about to hit 70 if we continue going up. One of the things that I would love to see is maybe a retest and then a continuation towards 71 or maybe beyond that. That would be fantastic. You have a decent amount of liquidity here, so you might see a little bit of a slowdown. But once we actually move over this hurdle right here, we're probably going to continue going towards 71. Now, if we lose momentum and we break 67, I think we're going to go down towards the 200 SMA, perhaps the 35 SMA, which would be a little bit of a higher level. But my next support, I would tend to say, is a 200 SMA if we lose momentum and go under 67. This has been behaving pretty nicely lately, especially when I was mentioning Bitcoin under the 200 SMA going up and then lost momentum. You had a double bottom right here, and then you moved up very nicely. You had a couple of days with a lot of momentum. Seems like buyers are stepping out maybe, but we'll see what happens. You know, next week when you get more volume coming in. You know, there's less volume on the weekend, so you know that's why you see these baby candles right here. I just said baby candles. Anyways, that's what I have for Bitcoin. Momentum is king in this situation. You have to break this shelf right here, and then you're gonna get into a low volume or low liquidity area. If you lose momentum, you break 67. I think you're gonna hit 35 SMA and 200 SMA. That would be your point of support. Let's move on to a name I haven't mentioned in a while, and that is Caterpillar. And it had a really nice move. This was August 5th, I believe, correct? Excuse me. And then we had a nice rebound after earnings next day, August 6th. Then we had this move, went down, back, sitting on the 200 SMA, another fantastic reaction on this indicator. And then you went straight up, breaking 387 resistance, which was a very long range between this resistance level and this support level, 346 to 382. Now you're in a little bit of a range here, and losing momentum. MACD, TSI, the TSI is not looking too bad, even though it's pointing down. There's not a lot of divergence in this area. Same with the MACD. RSI is also looking weak. Keep an eye on this name, especially for a rebound on support at 382. This might take some time. We'll see what we get on earnings, and earnings are coming on Wednesday the 30th. So in 10 days, we're getting earnings. So it's not this week, but the following week, the following Wednesday, we're going to get earnings on Caterpillar, and they have been doing quite well. So we'll see what we get. We'll see especially guidance, what is what they guide, and what is what they are predicting, not only for their business, but also for the economy as a whole. I think now that we are getting started on earnings season, earnings are going to dictate obviously the sentiment of the market, and are going to either reassure or help alleviate concerns, or maybe aggravate some concerns as well. Okay, let's move on to, I'm not doing Kava. I was going to do Kava, but Kava still looks scary. Let's do a Bitcoin related stock, and that's CLSK. I haven't mentioned CLSK in a minute, but and just because I didn't have any real, I guess I just saw something here, reliable, I guess, levels, or more than levels, moves that would be a little bit reliable. But now that Bitcoin is moving a little bit harder, you had this nice consolidation in this area. Let me see something really here really quick. I just like to see these levels to go a little bit, to get a little bit, you know, we can go back here. So it makes more sense. So you have more, a better perspective of these levels. Anyways, you were in range right here, right under the 35 SMA. And then once you broke the 35 SMA, you went over the 1050 level, you went over that 325 SMA as well, and now you're continuing moving. On Friday, you closed at 9.7%. That was a pretty solid day. We'll see what the week is going to bring as far as volume and as far as buyers, but look in this area, you have very low liquidity. I wouldn't be surprised, and you're going to move straight towards the 200 SMA, and then we'll see what happens there. But you also have, there is a gap right here, a price gap right here that is probably going to get filled. Again, I think if Bitcoin continues to move, as you can see right here, it's moving very slowly right now, but again, it's a Sunday, and but I think if Monday morning pre-market and towards the trading session, if Bitcoin continues moving, I think that Coinbase, I think CLSK, Mara, Riot, and some other names are going to continue moving up. This is a pretty impressive move, in my opinion. We were talking about CLSK back in May, and so we're somewhere in this area. This was a very nice range that you broke to the downside. Then you have this trend line right here. I don't want to bore you with any of that stuff. Let's see. Yeah, let's get rid of this. I don't need it for now. But yeah, this is moving decently or very nicely, actually. We'll see what happens, what kind of reaction the price has when we hit 200 SMA, the 200 SMA. If we do, again, this is very sensitive to what crypto does. So for now, keep an eye on that entire sector if you decide to make any decisions. But this move was fantastic. If you were somewhere around here on the break, on the especially the 35 SMA, that was a good indication of a continuation. Once you broke the 325 SMA, then look at this. You just kept moving. You see the reaction of this stock on the 325 SMA right on this area. Then when it broke, got pretty solid under it, and then we're continuing going up. It's an interesting chart as well. Now let's take a look at CrowdStrike, and mentioned CrowdStrike right before it moved to the upside on this area. I did make I think a video on this candle right here, which was on Monday the 30th. Let's take a look at my notes. And yeah, it's actually at minute 17:25 on that video on Monday the 30th. What I was saying was that if you actually got to break this level right here, which is this trend line, you're probably going to continue going towards this gap right here and fill it. Well, what happened the following days was that you actually went under the support level, but the following day you closed the day right on it. Then on Thursday of that week, you moved up, and then this continued going, went over the 200 SMA, no problem. The next day, you were on the starting to fill this gap, and then the next 2 days we had a little bit of a rejection in this area, and now you have this nice candle. Oh, never mind, I didn't see these two candles. Now you're right above the 200 SMA. These candles are very neutral. They make me nervous, to be honest, because at this point it's 100% a 50-50 situation. So keep an eye on this name, keep an eye on volume and what happens. The only question mark that I have here, especially for traders that don't have enough capital or they don't want to risk too much, is that the contracts were very expensive, and they continue to be expensive. So if you buy March or February or March contracts, are probably, I would guess right now, 3,500 or something like that. So it could be pricey. I think that if we break this level right here, even though you have, this is not a lot of liquidity if you ask me, but I think if we break this level right here, somewhere around 315, you're going to continue towards filling this gap, and we'll see what happens after that. The fact that we are mounting that 200 SMA in the last two trading days, that's a good sign. However, I don't like the fact that these candles are so indecisive. You were flat 2 days in a row. We'll see what happens this week. MACD and TSI also look neutral. RSI looks okay. I mean, is on the signal line. It's not overbought, so it's a waiting game, I guess. Especially keep an eye on volume and what maybe news. But again, I think if we go over 315, you are probably gonna fill this gap, and then you can, assess the fact that you have very low liquidity can make you think that you can probably go towards 165 maybe. Earnings are not coming until what is November 26. There's a lot of time here. So yeah, this is not looking bad. Again, it's just a matter of observation and waiting, a little bit of patience on this name. We'll see what kind of volume we get. Let's move on to Dell. And one of the things that I've been trading Dell in and out since these areas right here. At this point I thought it was very extended, especially on what the candles were showing, and this was back in May. I did short Dell somewhere in these areas right here, and then I left it alone, and then you had this very nice move to the downside, and you continue going down towards that 325 SMA, and look at this rebound right on this area. You went up, consolidated a little bit, and now you're steadily moving up. Not a bad looking chart, especially from here to here. Earnings are not coming until November 26. You have to break this level of resistance at 131 to see a continuation. Keep in mind that you have a very decent amount of volume right here, and you might see or encounter a little bit of resistance throughout your move towards 140 if that happens. Now, if we continue seeing red, MACD and TSI are neutral, so if we continue seeing red, we're probably going to go down towards 114 area, or maybe your resistance or your support area would be the 200 SMA. Just keep an eye on this range, 131 and 114, to see exactly what would happen. There's liquidity all over here, so this would probably move slowly, and there is some pretty crazy news, which I don't see anything coming as far as I've checked. But again, we'll see. If we continue consolidating here, you might actually have a nice opportunity to go towards higher levels. Dell is looking pretty decent. Again, it's just a matter of time and keeping some of these names on your short list of trades that might develop within a week or two. Let's move on to, I was looking at this and I was like, wow, let's mention this, and that is ENPH, and pretty bad. So I'm taking a note. I've been covering ENPH since May probably, so we were around here. But look at the rejection that you had consistently on the 325 SMA. You went 1, 2, 3. I'm not just pointing out the obvious ones because you have more candles that got rejected. But once you went under the 200 SMA and subsequently under the 35 SMA, it was a wrap. You just went down under support at 106, and now you are under 100. So you are 91. This is not looking good. One of the things about this name, however, is the fact that it actually reacts very strong. Now, it would be interesting, and I haven't done this, to take a look at anything that would indicate us if this is going to have decent earnings or not. Because if they do, well, we all know what's going to happen, right? We're going to have a candle ride that is going to move pretty significantly to the upside. But the risk that you also have is that there is a reason why this is been continuously going down, and it's not because things are going well. That's the reason why I don't like to trade earnings, because it's really a coin toss, and why risking money that way? Unless you're absolutely sure. I mean, did you see? I was sure, I was traveling, but I was sure that Netflix was going to do well. And look what happened, right? Like they are well on its way to 800, but let's keep the conversation on this name. MACD and TSI are also looking really bad. You are kind of like in the oversold area on the RSI, but you still have a lot of more room. This is a little bit concerning. Let's see what happens. Earnings are coming, so this is not something that I would trade myself. even as a lotto. Well, I don't know what's the price of the contracts, but I think I would leave it alone. This is not a good situation for ENPH. You have a price gap right here, so it's probably gonna get filled if earnings are or guidance is not decent. It was fun trading it here and in these peaks and valleys, but for now, I think is look at the trend is going down. Everything is pointing down. Absolutely everything. All the indicators are pointing down. Even the candles, volume, everything is telling you this thing is a little bit spooky. Let's move on to I don't think I ever mentioned if I could find it, FedEx, and it's looking interesting. So I only put this level right here because it's coincidentally it's right on this price gap. But two things are a possibility right here. We break this resistance level at 176.5, and then we go over we go over the 35 SMA, and then we start filling this gap at least until somewhere around 285, 286. And I'm saying that because then volume gets here and you might find a little bit of resistance. But you also can argue that, well, we might be seeing the beginning of a double top. That's, as you know, not a good indication. However, you still have the MACD and the TSI pointing up. The RSI is not looking bad. It looks it looks neutral. But I think if there is a buying pressure, we're just gonna see a move towards 185, and I would say 185 again because a little bit of volume comes in right after that price point. Keep an eye on this name. I think if we break 276.5, we're going to continue going up. You also have the 35 SMA as a resistance level. But if we get rejected, we might see a move down towards the 200 SMA and the 325 SMA. Earnings are not coming until December, I would say. Yeah, December in 2 months. So there's a lot of time. This is a name that is, for now, if you see a decent setup, I guess safe to trade, considering that it's not going to be there's not going to be a lot of repercussion. I could be wrong for earnings season for FedEx. Anyways, this is looking interesting. You have two different scenarios here. Maybe the beginning of a double top, that's bearish. If you break resistance and move with a little bit of momentum, you are probably going to hit 285. Not a price target yet. You want to see this chart developing a little bit more, whether if it's to the downside or to the upside. But I think it's at a critical level to the point that you can put it on your watch list just to see the behavior on this level right here, 276.5. And again, reaction to the downside or to the upside. This is a name that I definitely would put on my watch list. Now, listen, I move a little bit too fast. Let's take a look at Google. And I've been following Google for a while because it's been moving very slowly. Definitely not a lot of good news coming from Department of Justice. So and the market doesn't like that kind of uncertainty. Now, I did put this inverted head and shoulders. I'm not sure when I did, but I did somewhere probably in one of these candles right here. You're bouncing on the 200 SMA. Now you are in range between 170 and 164. Let me take a look. 164.5. I think if we break this level, we're going to go under the 200 SMA and meet 157. It's that simple. MACD and TSI are not looking pretty good. They look like they have a bearish tendency. Volume is not coming in. I do see Google as a opportunity, especially if you hit 157. Now, one of the things that I was saying was that it would be fantastic to see this actually continue going down towards the 325. There is definitely opportunity here. However, I think that Google is right now very sensitive to news. Earnings are coming on the 29th, so that is in 3 weeks. No, actually in 9 days. I don't know what I'm saying. That's 9 days. So that's going to be interesting. Again, there might be opportunity here, but you want to see this chart developing a little bit more. You don't want to trade this chart right here. It's not worth it. We'll see what is a reaction on support at 164.5, and then we'll see what is that reaction if we go under and we hit the 35 SMA and the 200 SMA. If you break under those levels, 157 is your next price target. It's that simple. I think if you rebound here, you can go towards 170, and anything over 170 would get you to 180 quick. There's no liquidity here. So this area right here of consolidation is showing you how much volume and liquidity you have here. And that is why we're having also a little bit of a challenge. Add to that equation the fears of what the government is trying to do to Google, which is basically cut it into pieces. And anyways, that's what I have for Google. Now let's take a look at Robinhood. And I'm going to say something that might be a little bit, I don't know, some people might not agree with me on this, but I do think that Google can go back to all-time highs. Not anytime soon, so keep that in mind. Let's go to the weekly chart. And I'm talking about, 80s or something. Now you have a long way to go, and that's why I'm saying not anytime soon. But I think that they are doing things right. Let's go back to the weekly. And this is not looking bad at all. Anyways, let's go back to the daily chart. I'd like to, check my daily chart. For now, it would be optimal actually to see, a retest of the 24.3 level. There's nothing else that could actually tell you that there is any other level right here. Even if I put a line here, maybe we can argue if we go back to the 4-hour chart, and maybe we can say, yeah, we have a little level here. Yeah, maybe. But at least for now, I would like to see if I see some sort of retest on 25.5, give or take. Maybe I put a line right here, but I won't for now. There's very low liquidity, so if we go down, we would probably go down towards 24, and at that point, I would definitely see, I would actually take some June or July calls for Robinhood. I think this name looks pretty good. I think that earnings are, with everything that they have been launching, this is just my opinion, earnings are probably going to be pretty decent. But it would be fantastic, because earnings are coming on the 30th. It would be fantastic if before the 30th there is a sell-off, and then it would give us a nice opportunity to get back in. If we rally towards into earnings, well, it won't be a name that I would like to trade, because it would be already extended, and it would be a lot to ask. Then this would move if earnings are good. It would continue going up, and it has to cool down. You already know how I think about this kind of situations, but I think that if we continue going down a little bit towards 24, or we consolidate here, so we chill right in this area, then it would be fantastic, and a fantastic opportunity to get into Robinhood, especially if you hit 24 at one point. Again, I think long term, Hood, at least for now, they are doing everything right. They continue to be used by so many retail investors. They have this, I think, a credit card or something, and then they revamp their platform. It looks pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I trade on Webull, but I'm definitely thinking about opening an account. I used to have an account with Robinhood, so I'm thinking about reopening that account, and maybe it would be cool maybe to do like a $1,000 challenge or some sort of stuff. Maybe, why not? But this is looking good. I like Robinhood. I think it's one of those things that I might put some money, especially some calls for July of next year, maybe August of next year. I think there's something going on here that is very positive. We'll see what we get, what kind of guidance we get on earnings, what kind of price reaction we see on earnings as well. But this has been moving very nicely. Look at the 325 SMA right here. This was August 5th. This was a beautiful opportunity for anybody to get in. Look at this. But again, would be lovely to see this going down to 24, 25, and then we can actually take advantage of that move. Long term, I'm very bullish on Robinhood. Okay, let's move on to where am I? I want to mention let's do JPM. And I follow, as you know, this sector. It's interesting to trade because it behaves very in a very consistent way. And also, another good thing about this sector is that you get news consistently, and somewhat you can make predictions. As all you know, that predicting the stocks is very difficult, but you can have an educated, I guess, entry or exit. Anyways, we can argue here that maybe we are forming a double top. Maybe you couldn't break this level right here with any momentum, and this level is 225.6, let's say. And you know, the MACD is looking just the way it was looking here, which is another bad indication in my opinion. Now, this being said, I'm not necessarily bearish on this sector, at least for now. XLF, which is an ETF for this sector, for the financial sector, is also looking a little bit extended. Let's take a look at what I noticed, and I don't know why I don't have this on my list, but let's take a look at Citibank. And Citibank is already on its way down. Earnings weren't very good for them. They went down 5%. Let's take a look at Bank of America and see how Bank of America is behaving. Bank of America is also pointing down. And there I also saw some news that banks are at all-time high lowest levels or highest levels of unrealized gains, and that is pretty bad news. So let's go back to JP Morgan, and the reason why I'm mentioning this is that you already have some other banks on their way down. Are we going to see that in JP Morgan? Well, we definitely have to see the next candles, right? But you have low liquidity here for obvious reasons. These were new territory, so you have low liquidity here. You have a little bit of extension right here. It's nothing crazy, but you have a decent divergence, and you can tell that it's already losing a little bit of momentum. These candles don't look the best either. RSI is right on the 70 level. I think if we give this a couple of days, or maybe just keep a close eye tomorrow and see what happens, there might be an opportunity towards 217, which is this support level right here. So just keep JP Morgan on your radar, this whole sector on your radar. If this continue going down, there's probably going to be a short opportunity, meaning short on as far as time, and yeah, going short, but a short-term opportunity to go, to buy puts for JP Morgan, and therefore you might have some other opportunities on names like XLF, which I did call, by the way, to the upside. That was a beautiful move for XLF. Anyways, let's finish this one video with this name right here, and that is KSS. And not a name that I mention pretty often. I have in the past. I think I have for the most part on X, but what I find that the reason why I'm mentioning this, I like to put trend lines, and I like to make them match. So my trend line was based upon this candle right here. I think I did put a post on X saying that we're going to move towards this level at 21.2. And that actually happened. However, what happened is, and we got rejected right on that point, a little bit high, no, right on that point, and then went down towards this trend line. Now, let's make a little change on this trend line. And I'm using, well, let's go back. I'm using this candle right here, but if we actually, this candle right here from September 5th, but if we go down and we use, which is actually better, so now we're closer to this candle from July 31st, and then we are right on this candle on August 28th, and then you have this 1, 2 candles right here. You also have this, the body of the candle, and then you have this other candle right here. If we use this trend line, which I moved to the downside, by the way, we can argue that we had a very nice retest, which is pretty obvious at this point. You also mounted the 35 SMA, and let me move this one because I like my lines to, just like the graphs that I put, I like all of them to be aligned. It's just a visual thing for me. Anyways, we are mounting the 35 SMA with this candle right here from Tuesday of last week. Wednesday, Thursday, you went right on it, and now you're moving. As of Friday, you were up 3.8%, almost 4%. I think if you break 21.2, you're definitely going to move towards that 200 SMA. Earnings are not coming until what, November, in 1 month. So you're 1 month away from any crazy news. Now, maybe some other retailers or something can signal negativity on the market or positivity on the market, we'll see. But I guess my point at this here is that if you break 26 or 21.2, you're probably going to continue moving towards the 200 SMA. That's one thing. But you also can be witnessing the beginning of a double top. And if that is the case, and you're going to get rejected towards the 35 SMA, if you break the 35 SMA, at that point, you're going to be breaking the neckline of the double top, which is right here. And then you're probably going to continue going down. As simple as that. MACD and TSI are not looking bad at all. They're moving slow. I would love to see a little more volume and a little more momentum, seeing this a little more with a little more of aggression, but it's not happening. It is what it is. RSI is not looking bad. It's definitely, as you can see, pointing up. But again, critical level is 21.2. If we get rejected, I would totally wait and see what happens. If you break the neckline after that rejection, then it might be safe to say that you can go short. If you break 21.2, then you're going to rally towards the 200 SMA. At that point, you can consider the 200 SMA as your resistance area. Actually, let's put, you have these candles right here. Yeah, right now, the 200 SMA is right on that level. But I think if it continues, well, it's going to continue going down maybe. If we get more green, this indicator is probably going to hit this level right here and maybe stay flat for a little bit. We'll see what happens. Another one that you want to see which direction is going to go on a double top formation. Okay, or if you break resistance, then you're probably going to move towards 23.3. If you break 23.3, you're going to rally, but you're going to have earnings at that point. So something to keep in mind. KSS is still looking interesting, especially after this retest on this trend line. I'm going to try my best to put some charts on X. I haven't in a week, but some of you know I've been traveling and I just bought a business and I'm extremely busy, and I just want to, I'm prioritizing YouTube over X, but I'm definitely going to make time either late at night or something to publish charts on X. Okay, everybody, I might do another video later today. If not, I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you. Bye-bye.